Ya fue el proceso, ha tenido pues muchos cambios. Se ordenó inicialmente a Shakur Stevenson contra Lomachenko. Lomachenko declinó. Se ordenó contra Isaac Cruz, quien también declinó. Y ahora está ya negociándose la pelea de Shakur Stevenson contra Frank Martin por el título ligero del consejo. Es una división muy complicada.
So, Shakur Stevenson has been in serious negotiations with Frank Martin to fight next for the WBC vacant title. Originally, the WBC ordered Shakur to fight Lomachenko, however, Lomachenko quickly turned the fight down. Then, the WBC ended up ordering Shakur to fight PitBull Cruz. PitBull Cruz also turned down the Shakur Stevenson fight. That's when they went down the ladder till Frank Martin. This is the best available opponent for Shakur Stevenson at the moment in time. What's interesting about that is the fact Frank Martin is with PBC and Shakur is with ESPN and Top Rank. So if this fight takes place, it's going to be similar to Crawford versus Sean Porter in the sense of PBC will end up helping Top Rank find their own fighter and opponent. Why is this important? Well, Frank Martin can also fight Gervonta Davis at PBC, where that's more beneficial to PBC because that's an in-house fight and is a win-win for them anyway because both Frank Martin and Gervonta are their fighters. So it really don't matter who wins in that situation. However, don't get me wrong, Frank Martin versus Shakur is still a great opportunity for Frank Martin too, if he can't get the Gervonta fight. See, this is all dependent on Gervonta. If Frank Martin could get the Gervonta fight, he can actually pass on this opportunity against Shakur Stevenson, just like PitBull Cruz did. In fact, Frank Martin actually fought in a WBA title eliminator and in a WBC title eliminator, which means he could fight for the vacant strap of either or. Don't be surprised once Devin Haney vacates the WBA. There's a huge probability we could end up seeing Gervonta versus Frank Martin for the WBA vacant title at lightweight. It ain't no secret Gervonta holds the WBA interim and mandatory title at lightweight, while Frank Martin just fought in a title eliminator fight for the WBA against Rivera. So both Gervonta and Frank Martin are the two highest ranked fighters under the WBA. The moment the WBA title goes vacant, guess who's going to be given the option to fight for the vacant title? That's right, Gervonta and Frank Martin. That's why, like I said before, this is all dependent on Gervonta. If Gervonta chooses to fight Frank Martin next, instead of PitBull Cruz, then don't be surprised if Frank Martin passes on the opportunity to fight Shakur. I mean, if you think about it, the fight does make sense and is the best option for Gervonta at the moment in time, due to the fact apparently Gervonta and Frank Martin got history. Rumors have it Frank Martin got the best of Gervonta in sparring to the point Gervonta tried to street fight Frank Martin, similar to the stories we heard about Floyd Mayweather and Errol Spence. That's why I said this fight makes sense, especially if Gervonta has future plans of fighting Shakur sooner than later. Then guess what? Fighting Frank Martin, who's a southpaw and has a similar style to Shakur, that will be very beneficial to Gervonta in that regard. To get experience fighting a slick southpaw like Shakur, who utilizes similar techniques just like Shakur. And if Gervonta is victorious, on top of shutting down all of the noise by beating Frank Martin, Tank could add Frank Martin to his training camp for the Shakur Stevenson fight. Therefore, this could be in the plans. We all know PBC are low-key when it comes to their matchmaking, and they always great at finding Gervonta great opposition in order to put him on pay-per-view. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we hear Gervonta versus Frank Martin is next instead of PitBull Cruz, especially with all of the sparring rumors going back and forth between Gervonta and Frank Martin. PBC can easily capitalize on that hype and make it a selling point. Plus, it makes sense to reward the fighter who always wants to fight the best, like Frank Martin, by giving him the Gervonta fight, instead of rewarding the fighters who always avoid the best fighters, like PitBull Cruz. Nevertheless, either or, if Gervonta ends up fighting PitBull Cruz in a rematch and we get Shakur versus Frank Martin, this is still a win-win for the fans, because Gervonta versus PitBull Cruz rematch is a good fight, and Shakur versus Frank Martin will be a great fight. In fact, if PBC can host Shakur versus Frank Martin fight on the undercard of Errol Spence versus Crawford rematch, that will be a great selling point, especially after how Crawford dominated the first fight. To have Crawford homeboy Shakur fight Errol Spence fighter Frank Martin on the undercard of their fight, man, that will be a great idea. And I know people are going to say Bob Arum is not going to allow that to happen. However, that's not Bob Arum call. All PBC has to do is win the purse bid. Then it's a wrap. Shortly, as soon as this week, we're going to find out if Shakur versus Frank Martin is going down and where. And that's also going to tell us who Gervonta is most likely fighting next. At the moment in time, Gervonta could be looking at Frank Martin as great experience to go ahead and fight him, or he could be looking at Frank Martin as a testing tool to see where Shakur Stevenson is at in order to gauge his level fighting power. So we shall see what Gervonta Davis decides to do. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Which fight you prefer to see? Gervonta versus Frank Martin or Shakur versus Frank Martin? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Did you get a
Couple more questions,
the
guys.
Frank Martin fight with Michelle Rivera this weekend?
Yeah, I seen
Is that a fight you'd entertain in the future, Frank Martin?
Yeah, for sure. Of course. Hell yeah.
You ever text Earl about him? Like, man,
No, but I seen Earl say some stuff about it. Earl better watch out.
Nobody.
Get this fight hurt bad, like I did before.
When you say controlling your business, champ, how does it feel to be in control of yourself now and being able to do what you want to do, how you want to do it?
It feel good, you know. It feel good, but it also it's a pros and cons, you know what I mean. But it's just a test run, so hopefully we get better as the future go on, and definitely I'm looking forward, man. Everybody had that, the Greeks had that time where they was with promoters and things like that. They branched off to their own. So I see, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a great, you know what I mean? Future.
Thank you.
What about the top dogs in the light divisions? Besides you, obviously, we have Dylan